Just a few more words about electronic warfare, because the Russians really excelled in this field, and they've been perfecting and fine-tuning their systems for many decades now. Take a look at what they said, even on CNN. Even CNN admits this now.
You can target more accurately.
And the American doctrine is that you would always do such infantry moves with air power, which the Ukrainians don't have. And the air power comes in, cleans the path, and then the American gets the other side running back, and then they start to win. We, meaning the Ukrainians, the US, the West, need a solution to get them moving.
So that gets us to drones. They are already using an extraordinary number of drones, the Ukrainians. How many drones are they using a week or a month?
They're on track to using a couple 100,000 drones in a year. Most drones only survive 1 or 2 flights before they fail or they're blocked. I was shocked at how good the Russians were at electronic warfare and jamming. Basically, everything you send into this battlefield, which is quite narrow, by the way, the rest of the country is fine, I suspect, on both sides. They jam everything. GPS is jammed, but also communications is jammed. So normal drones don't work. So the Ukrainians have taken cheap drones and added additional antennas. One of the things that I learned was something called a kamikaze drone, which is a $400 Chinese drone that carries a small payload that moves so fast you can't shoot it down. I had thought that that was the innovation of the war. 2 generals yesterday told me that I'm wrong, and that what they really need are cruise missile drones, which can go really far and carry with wings and can carry more payloads. I don't think the Ukrainian drone strategy is completely formed, but they're building a completely new theory of war.
And this is where we get to the solution. For you, the only way the Ukrainians can break through these lines is with massive numbers of drones.
Massive number of drones or massive number of human casualties on both sides. The beauty of the drone is it can take out the other side's military target without collateral damage, right? We are very concerned about the propagation of this war against other countries, but I'm very concerned about its effect on civilians, both the Russians and the Ukrainians. The important thing about a drone...
Whenever somebody from the Pentagon tells you, this drone works with no collateral damage, you probably shouldn't believe it. This guy, he was Google CEO, but he's now an advisor to the Pentagon, right? So hence his military expertise. Nevertheless, he makes very good points, right?
It's a very, very targeted solution. It's very inexpensive. I think the goal that we should have for Ukraine is to establish the principle that there will never be another land war where you can invade successfully. That respecting the land...
Yeah, really? Why didn't you do that after Iraq or before Iraq? Like, why does everyone just like wake up now suddenly after Ukraine? Oh, yeah, we need... These rules already exist. The laws already exist. You just don't follow them. That's all.
Sovereignty of the land is important. If you're mad at them, that's fine. You can negotiate, you can put pressure, but you can't send artillery and flatten cities.
Flatten cities? Who the hell is flattening cities? I mean, besides Bakhmut. Flattening cities, you know, you would think that Russia carpet bombed Kiev or something, you know, just like they completely decimated Ukraine. What the hell are you talking about? What does that even mean? You want to talk about flattening things and people? Cluster bombs, and again, both sides are using them. They're both wrong. But the amounts, you know, that they're going to send now to compensate for the shortage of 155 rounds is staggering. That's staggering. You know, you're basically making sure that, you know, the ground is so just mined and dangerous. You cannot farm there. You cannot live there. You cannot walk there. You can't drive there. You can't do anything, right? And I mean, the depleted uranium. You know, look at Fallujah. I mean, it's akin to flattening a city. You know why? Because no one can live there anymore. It is uninhabitable. If you go there, you will have cancer. You will get cancer. Your children will have birth defects. It's uninhabitable. It's the same thing as flattening a city. Maybe even worse, because you carry that. Your DNA is corrupted inside of you. You carry that wherever you go after. You know, building can be, you can fix a building and rebuild it. You can't fix someone's DNA or you know, congenital heart disease and birth defects. Anyway, I just don't think he should be lecturing about collateral and international law like he gives a crap. He makes good points, though, when it comes to, you know, the hardware that's being used. And, you know, the fact of the matter is the Russians, look, this is the stuff that they've been using right? So all of these provide a wide array of solutions. So some of them are going to be placed in kind of like a chain, right? So they'll be spread out, and it's like creating a wall. Anything that comes near this, the electronics are going to die. So if you're flying a drone and you get near this chain or this link of jamming systems, you're not going to see any signal from the drone. The drone will fall flat out of the sky. It'll just plop down onto the ground. That's it, right? It won't even get near the link to go through and get to the defenses and actually kill someone or kill something. It just falls flat out of the sky, period. So that's what the jamming systems do. The other jamming systems, communications, communication is everything. Everything on a battlefield. You cannot run an army without communication. Today, each side is using radios these are not simple walkie-talkies. These are very, very, special and sophisticated units. What they do to encrypt the signal is they'll jump between frequencies every second. That's how they work, right? So, even if you could listen in on a particular frequency, you'd have like a millisecond before it's already gone to another one. Just jumps all the time. It's very, very effective, and it's used by police and armies around the world. It's nothing new, right? But my point is that because you depend on walkie-talkies, they don't work. You can't hear the other side. You can't hear who you're talking to because of the jamming system. Okay, so the drones don't work, the communications don't work, and then if we're talking about surveillance drones, they will also fall out of the sky, just like the kamikaze drones or the other UAVs that deliver payloads. The Turkish ones, for example, that they're using, they would also fall out of the sky. So anything that requires an electronics, gone. GPS, I'm sure a lot of armies still teach their soldiers how to read maps and navigate and use a compass. But today in the battlefield, you only resort to a map as a last option, because this is something that they still teach you as your primary course of action in the U.S. military. But in Ukraine, in the war right now in Ukraine, people are using GPS because they can. Why shouldn't they use GPS? The drones that they're flying also need GPS. So you run into multiple problems here with navigation and with the drones themselves. Russia, you can't compete with this. America doesn't have an answer to this. No one in the West has an answer to this. Yes, of course, you can jam radar to a certain extent. And you can jam signals. Like, don't get me wrong. America, NATO have this technology, but not all of it. They don't have something this sophisticated or this elaborate. They just don't. If they did, you would see a lot more losses on the Russian side. A lot more. And even then, actually, hypothetically, even if they did, you can't jam a minefield. The Russians are dug in. You can't uproot them with a radar system or jamming. It helps to a certain extent, but it's just a fact that nothing this sophisticated exists on the other side. And this is another secret weapon that the Russians have perfected, which they possess and which they deploy in the battlefield to great success, right? To great results. I'm really struggling to see how Ukraine is going to win this. I mean, nobody wins in this war. Everybody's suffering from this war one way or another. Yes, Ukrainians primarily, but if you look at, gas prices in the West, food prices all over, it's not just in the West, but the blowback from sanctions is my point. If you look at the people that are being displaced, the refugees, those that are killed, also, a very big problem. Everybody's suffering from this. My point here is that they should cut their losses and just actually engage in meaningful, respectful, and truthful diplomacy, like real diplomacy. What signing something that you actually intend to undertake and to engage in a real agreement, not just some Minsk ploy again where you trick the Russians into some. Or like the grain deal where you lie to the Russians. This is going to result in the same situation. We are here. This war in Ukraine is happening now precisely because Diplomatic negotiations were not respected. Expansion of NATO not respected during 2+4, right? Negotiations. And then when it comes to Minsk, also not respected. Grain deal. There's a pattern here of Western diplomats lying to the Russians. I don't see the front line moving unless exceptional circumstances, but this is another very, very, very sophisticated and advanced system that Ukraine does not have an answer to at the moment.